Hey, what is up, guys? I'm TPV Robinizer. Today I'm here with Jace, and we are bringing you guys the Week 0 draft analysis for the MPC. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Jace, and I'm honored to be here with TPV, and I think we're ready to keep going.
Alright, so the first team is the Atlanta Dream Eater. I will read this off. We got Lando T, Volcanion, Clefable, Normal Scizor, Como, Roserade, Zoroark, Alakazam, Ditto, Manectric, Cloyster, and Hawlucha. The Z-Bonds are Landorus and Como. So, the first thing I see on this team is his hazard. Alright, we're not gonna reveal the grades till the end of when we're talking, so you guys aren't gonna see the grades or anything. But the first thing I saw on this team is his hazard removal is really poor. He has a Rapid Spin Cloyster and a Defog Scizor, who don't really want to be running their hazard removal. You know, Scizor wants to be banded or offensive, and Cloyster, you know, it wants to set up its own hazards or be a Shell Smash sweeper. So I think that could be a problem, especially with mons like Volcanion and his Volturn core with Lando and Manectric and Scizor.
Yeah, you know, and the first thing that I saw was that Lando coming in strong, man. I think that has a lot of great offensive pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And also that little Clefable sticking out to me. I don't really like to deal with stall teams, so if you let that set up on you, I think it's gonna have a rough time.
Yeah, I think he's got a pretty good Fire Dragon Steel Core with Scizor, Clefable, and Como. I kind of wonder why he picked Como as a Z-Mon though, considering he has a fast Revenge Killer and Alakazam, and if Zoroark could come in and get a Z move off and kill something without them even knowing it was Zoroark, that would also be good. So I'm a bit confused there.
Yeah, you know, that is a bit confusing, but I think you can probably make that work out. I think people are not expecting that as much. I'm also really interested in seeing that Ditto come into battle.
Yeah, I love Ditto. His team, I would say it's one thing I like about it is it's pretty fast. He has a Shell Smashing Cloyster and Unburden and fast Hawlucha, Alakazam and Zoroark and Scarf Ditto. Like, his team is pretty fast, and that's something I look for a lot.
You know, that's something that I really, really like. I like to play a little more offensively, and so having that speed on your side really helps.
Yeah. Another bad thing I saw about his team though is he lacks priority. He has Bullet Punch Scizor and Ice Shard Cloyster, I think, only. So he might want to look out for that, but I don't think that should be too much of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really do anything else.
So do you want to reveal the grades?
Yeah, so for this one, I give this team an A-.
Mm-hmm. I gave him a B.
So that's
yeah.
far off.
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid. It's just there are a few things I don't like about it, so I only gave it a B. So next team, the Baltimore Honchkrow. Go ahead.
Honchkrows. So this one has the Tapu Koko, the Azumarill, the Nidoking, the Dugtrio, the Celebi Chansey, Hitmontop, Venomoth, the Oricorio. And then we have the Fire Kitty, Incineroar, and Sneasel. I'm surprised to see Sneasel here. And then we have the Escavalier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of really, I would consider kind of random mons.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to see that Dugtrio there.
Yeah, Dugtrio, I mean, I guess it can take on poison types that would threaten his first two picks. You know, it can trap stuff and kill it, but, you know, I don't think it was really necessary for this team.
I mean, yeah, I would almost rather have the Alolan Dugtrio here, but I think this one will work fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have we have a couple of mons that he can run the Eviolite on, so
Yeah.
use carefully when he does that, or when they do that. Sorry.
Yeah, looking at his team, it's pretty weak to knock off. You know, he's got Celebi, Chansey, and Sneasel.
Yeah. They do have Intimidate. They do have Fake Out Pressure.
Yeah, that's good.
It's good. The Z move that he chose, his Pokemon are going to be the Tapu Koko and the Azumarill. The Azumarill is a little slow.
Yeah.
I'd rather have my Z moves on fast mod that lets you get the damage off quick.
Yeah, I don't think Azumarill's a great Zmon. It doesn't have too much coverage, but I guess it is really strong. So there's that. On this team, another thing like similar to the last team is I think his only removal is Rapid Spin Hitmontop, and like he has Tapu Koko, which just loves to Volt Turn out, and he has Venomoth, which is weak to rock. So I think he would have been better off if he had more like spinning support.
Yeah, and so the Oranguru, is this the fire type, right? So
Yeah, I think he can run any type, but they're all weak to rocks.
yeah.
On this team, I do like the speed that he has. He has Tapu Koko, which is really fast, as well as Dugtrio and Sneasel, so I like that. He also has, I think, Quiver Dance Venomoth. I think he gets Quiver Dance. I don't know why else you would get it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you want, I don't know, but like poison people, I don't really know why you would have a Venomoth.
Yeah.
I do like the Nidoking though.
Yeah.
I think that its move pool is very diverse, and you can just Scarf it or Life Orbit instead.
Yeah, Nidoking is definitely a good mon. You can even run it physical or special if you wanted. It gets like superpower, I think, stuff like that.
Yeah, same thing with the Tapu Koko. You can run that on physical and special set as well.
Yeah, it's got Brave Bird and U-Turn. So, the other thing I have for this team is he doesn't have many wall breakers. I'd say, like, his only super strong mons, like, to break walls would be Nidoking and Azumarill. You know, Tapu Koko is not the strongest, same with Sneasel and stuff like that. His team is just not, like, too offensive, I would say, but it's not too defensive either.
Right.
Alright, so, you want to reveal the grades?
Yeah, so this one I actually give this a B-.
I also gave it a B-. Yeah, I think B- is where it's at, because if you look at it, it's pretty solid, but there are also some obvious flaws with it, so, yeah, I think it's a decent team.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna have to look ahead and see who they're battling, and just kind of schedule it out and put whatever they need on the roster.
Yep. Alright, so, next team. California Crawdaunts. I love this team. This is actually your team, I think, now, because the coach dropped. So, this is Jace's team. So this team is Tapu Fini, Thunderous Eye, Hydreigon, Metagross, Darmanitan, Decidueye, Zygarde 10, Crobat, Rotom Mow, Miltank, Swampert, and Sawk. With this team, what I saw is, like, I love Tapu Fini.
So do I.
Yeah. I think it's a great defensive mon, and it can even be Calm Mind or an offensive set, so I love that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, the weird thing here is the Z-Mons.
Yes.
I'm not really sure why these were picked, but I guess it's mine now, so.
Yeah, I like I like Thunderous because it's fast and strong. However, I would say like Hydreigon or Darmanitan would be better than Zygarde. You know, because Zygarde, you want to run that banded most of the time. You know, it's not really going to be able to utilize a Z-Mon.
Right, and I think that Thunderous is more useful with its Prankster.
Yeah.
I think it could have gone more to the Hydreigon. I would have been happy with that.
Yeah. With this team, I like this. Another thing I love about this team is, like, I don't think he has like any. This team has any slow mons. You know, his slowest is I think Metagross, whatever that is, like 70 or 80, which is not that slow. So I like that.
You know, and even if it was slow, there's some like really good tailwinders in here.
Yeah, definitely. We got and we have the prankster Thunderwave on Thundurus. With this team, a thing I pointed out is I believe the only priority is Metagross and Zygarde, and Metagross, like with Bullet Punch, is really strong, but Zygarde E-Speed isn't too strong, so he might have some problems with like setup sweepers, but you know, then there are there's the prankster Thunderwave Thundurus Eye, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
I mean, the only problem that I would see here is that you have to be careful when you send in the top team.
Yeah.
When you want to send away with the Thundurus, that's not going to happen.
Alright, so one thing I want to say is Sawk. I love Sawk. You know, it was obviously the last round pick, but you know, you could run that thing with like a choice banded sturdy set, and it gets a guaranteed choice banded close combat off on something, and it can do a lot of damage. It's a really strong mod.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to try this team out and see how far we can make it.
You wanna? All right, let's reveal the grades.
Cool. Why don't you go ahead and do this one first?
Okay. I gave it an A+. This is my highest ranked team and my only A+. Yeah, I just love this team. Yeah.
Well, I actually gave this team a B- before I knew that I was going to
Yeah.
coach this team. But I think overall it's a pretty solid team, and I think it has some really good potential.
Yeah. Alright, next team. This is your turn.
The Chicago Bulus. And we have the Manaphy Victini, Zapdos, Superior, Lucario, Gliscor, and Helico. The Hitmonlee, the Tyrantrum, excuse me, Sableye, the Scolipede, and the Ribbon. And we have the Z moves on the Manaphy and the Lucario.
Okay, so this team, I feel like it's just a bunch of good or decent mons thrown together. There's no real synergy or anything.
Right.
Like, and I also think it's not like bulky at all. You have Zapdos and Gliscor, who are your only walls, and you know, Gliscor sometimes run like Sword Dance and stuff. And then Sableye, you know, you could say it's defensive, but in reality, it's just an annoyance.
I mean, yeah, I don't really see too much team synergy going on here, but you do have a couple of threats, like you want to be careful for baton passing. That can be dangerous.
Yeah, definitely, because it can really help with mons like Victini, just outspeed everything and win.
Yeah, and also you also can pair that up with the Ultra Beast, and then you can get your speed to go up, and then if you want to do the Beast boost on your special attack, you can just run away with that.
Yeah, so I'm going to point out, Nihilego got picked 7th round, which is crazy, because that mon is so good.
Yeah, and I was in another league and actually picked that round 1, so...
Yeah, it's round 1 or 2 pick, and it fell all the way to 7th round, so I don't know how that happened. Yeah. Another thing is, like, the two of his main walls, Zapdos and Gliscor, are both weak to ice, so that could be a problem. You know, just have a strong ice type, and you could do well against this team. You know, I think Weavile and Sneasel specifically would just run through this team. Alright. One more thing I want to say before you talk. I don't think he has this. Oh wait, never mind. That's wrong. Go ahead, if you want to say anything.
I don't think I have too much more to say other than that. So last pick, the Ribbon Bee, I'm not too sure what that does in singles, but I'm excited to see that come onto the field.
Yeah, I think he just needed a fairy type, so he picked it up. But let's reveal the grades. All right.
Alright, so this one I gave a B.
And I gave this one a C minus, so big difference there. I gave it a C minus because, like, as I said, no synergy, and I don't think it's defensive enough, and for a hyper offensive team, which it isn't, I don't think it's fast enough, other than like baton passing Scolipede.
Yeah, and I gave it a B. There's a lot of things on here that can be scary on its own, but now that we've talked about it a little more, I'm a little concerned for the synergy going on, but I think that if you can just scare things away, switch in correctly, I think you can get yourself a couple of wins for this team.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of threats. So, next team, the Detroit Cobalions. Infernape, Cresselia, Dragonite, Donphan, Volcarona, Breloom, Electros, Slowking, Doublade, Alolan Ninetales, Minior, and Xatu. Alright.
Alright. When I first looked at this team, I didn't really know where to go with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that stand out on its own. Like that Infernape with the fake out. That Cresselia. I love Cresselia.
Oh yeah.
She's big. She can get you through so many things.
Yeah, it's a defensive monster. On this team, I like the Z-Mons a lot. I think Infernape is one of the best Z-Mons in League format, and Dragonite is not bad either with Z-Fly. So I think those are the best choices.
Well, I've never seen those mons be used, but I usually play doubles, so there's a little.
Your mic's messing up a bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's messed up, but while you try and fix that, one thing I'm gonna say is this team is slow. He has the base 108 speed Infernape, and I think nothing else reaches base 100. Maybe Volcarona does, I might be wrong, maybe Dragonite, but it's a slow team, and I definitely don't like that.
Am I back now?
Yes, much better.
Okay.
Alright,
Cool. So there's priority here.
Yeah.
The hazard tier, I think he has options.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, that Alolan Ninetales is coming in with that weather.
Yeah, and if you set up an Aurora Veil, you can just... This team has quite a few setup sweepers, so you could set up an Aurora Veil and then just switch into something and set up and sweep. So I think that Alolan Ninetales is a good pick.
Yeah, and I think overall this team is probably one of the thicker teams we've seen so far.
Yeah. One other thing I want to say though is I don't like Volcarona because it's 4 times weak to rocks. Granted, he has Xatu and Donphan, so he drafted around the Volcarona well. However, I just think having like Volcarona and Dragonite, who are both like really weak against rocks, is not really a good idea. As well as the fact that he has the U-turning Infernape. So I think rocks are going to be a real problem.
Yeah, so you just have to be careful around that. I mean, you gotta save what you gotta save.
Yeah. Alright, so the grades.
The grades, I actually gave this one a D.
Yeah, and I gave it a C+. I'm not too big a fan of it, mainly because it's just so slow for me, and I wish it had more Volt Turn as well.
Yeah, I think that speed is really where it's at right now. I mean, you can get a couple of fast hits off.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be well. You can have the momentum, and this team is just not doing it too much for me.
Yeah, definitely. One thing though is the Minior. You know, it's like his only fast mon, and that is only if it's in not in Shield's down form. I don't know, whichever. But when it's less than half HP, it's base 120. But other than that, it's just the Infernape over base 100.
Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the Golden State War Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
And here we have the Buzzwole, the Weavile, the Alolan Marowak, Raikou, we have the Amoonguss, Slowbro, Porygon 2, Flygon, Registeel, we have the Diancie, we have Pelipper, and the Kingdra.
Yeah. I think the last two picks, just picking up the Pelipper and the Kingdra out of nowhere, definitely helps his team. It is really strong, and it allows Raikou to run Thunder if it wanted, so it can be even stronger. So I am happy with those last two picks. I think they're really good.
Yeah, I think it really adds longevity to this team. It helps with the Buzzwole, the Registeel, and the Amoonguss. It helps you with the fire weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. This team, one of the cons, this team is pretty solid, but one of the cons I had on it is Flygon and Pelipper are his main defoggers. But Pelipper is weak to rocks, and Flygon, it's so versatile it could be running other sets, but you know, I think Flygon's a decent defogger, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but I wish he had a better, like, spinner or defogger.
Yeah, and I think this team has enough bulk in it to actually get some nice combos going. You know,
Yeah.
you have that P2 that can help you out. You got the Amoonguss that can help you just put status on the team.
With this team, I like it is offensive and bulky at the same time. You know, we got Pelipper, Diancie, Registeel, Porygon, Amoonguss, and Slowbro, which are all defensive monsters. So we got that, but we also have the offensive threats, like all the offensive threats as well. So this team is threatening.
You have that beast boosted Buzzwole, man. I think that's probably one of the scariest things.
Yeah, especially with the Z move, it can pick up a kill unexpectedly and get that beast boost and sweep.
Yeah, and then you can also, I mean, if you want to run the superpower on it, you can just boost your attack, and then drop your attack, and then you'll actually be okay.
Yeah. Beast boost superpower is definitely strong. I will say I kind of wish that Weavile was the Zmon instead of Raikou, because neither of them get too much coverage, but I think Weavile is better with it because it gets things like Poison Jab, so it'll be able to take on fairies, which are its main counter.
Does Buzzwole not get Poison Jab?
I think Buzzwole does, but I meant for like when Weavile just is like trying to sweep, you know, it would get stopped by a fairy, but if it had a Z Poison Jab or something, it could just kill the fairy and keep going.
Yep, and also with the Alolan Marowak, you're also protecting your range.
Yeah. So, you want to go on to the grades?
Yeah, so I gave this team an A. I think it's a very solid team overall.
I gave it a B+. I also think it's very solid. I think this is your only A on the entire draft.
I think there's another A coming along a little bit later, but this is actually one of my more my favorite teams.
Yeah, it's definitely threatening. Alright, next team. The Jacksonville Jirachi. Alright, this team has Kartana, Thundurus T, Umbreon, Gudra, Arcanine, Nidoqueen, Greninja, Silvally, Cofagrigus, Gothitelle, Linoone, and Delmise. Go on.
Actually, Kartana is one of my favorite monsters.
Yeah, Kartana's strong. But
Kartana and the Greninja make this team so scary.
Yeah. I just wish Kartana didn't die to anything's HP fire.
Right, but yeah.
But on this team, Delmise was his last round pick. And good thing he picked that up because it's his only spinner, and he has like Thundurus and Arcanine on it. So good thing he picked that up. Yeah, it should help his team a lot. It also gives him a grass type. This team, if looking at it, I think it's lacking a fairy type, which sucks. Because dragons can just spam outrage against you. You know, he's got the Gudra that's weak to it, and it's just, I think outrage might be a problem for this team.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just be careful against the dragons. You can just maybe throw a Choice Scarf on the Nidoqueen, throw Ice Beam on it, throw Ice Beam on the Ninja. I mean, if you want to set up Trick Room, you can. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got Kofag and Gothitelle for that. So and Delmise is great under Trick Room, so that could work. So Nidoqueen. I just want to point out that got traded for. He traded out Weezing for Nidoqueen, and I think this it was a steal because Nidoqueen makes this team so much more threatening.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, I wanted.
So,
sorry, go on.
Are they restricted to what type the Savali?
No, they can use any type. Any type.
Cool.
But with this team, I want to point out, I think everything on this team except for Gothitelle is immune to something, and that's really good because like he can bring in all of his mons in on something. Like Arcanine has Flash Fire, Gudra has Sap Sipper. Just the abilities and the typing is really good. Yeah. Do you have more to say?
Actually, I think that's it. I'm just looking at that Lanoon just hanging out there.
Yeah, the Belly Drum E-Speed. Alright, so the grades for this team, I gave it a B+.
Well, I gave this team an A as well.
Okay.
And it's just because I like the offensiveness that you can have with the Katana, with the Thundurus, with the Nidoqueen, with the Greninja. I think this is a very solid team. You have Intimidate with the Arcanine.
Yeah, this team, it's definitely good. It's also very, as I said with a couple other teams, it's also really bulky and offensive at the same time, which I love. So, yeah. Next team.
Moving on to the Louisville Crobats. We have Jirachi, Tornadus, we have Mamoswine Tentacruel, Rotom Heat, Virizion, Haxorus, Smagius, Grumble, Porygon Z, Regirock, and Yanmega.
Okay, with this team, I like it. I like it a lot. I just think a lot of these mons are really solid, and having the other than the Yanmega, I think every pick in this draft is really good.
I don't like this team so much. I just looking at it, I see a lot of power. I just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I could definitely agree. You know, it's kind of like just mishmashed together. But I like the Tentacruel pick because he has Mamoswine, Rotom Heat, and Yanmega, so it's definitely good to have a solid spinner that's not weak to rocks. So I like that pick, I like a lot.
Do you want to think a little bit about the Z-Mons here?
Yeah, so Jirachi and Torn. Honestly, I think Jirachi's a good Z-Mon, but Torn usually wants to run an Assault Vest. So there's that, and it's not always gonna get to use a Z move, and I think the Evo boosting Z moves are not banned. Would I be correct in saying that?
Oh, I was gonna ask you the same thing. I don't know that if we're doing that.
Well, if it is not banned, then I think it would have been much better on Porygon Z as opposed to Tornadus, because you could just set up that Z move and then just spam those strong normal type moves.
Yeah, I would almost have liked it a little better on the Virizion.
Yeah, it's fast and strong, so I can definitely see that. With this team, one thing I like about it is it has a really solid Fire, Water, Grass, and Fairy Dragon Steel Core. It's got the Jirachi, Haxorus, and Gramble, which I like a lot. It gives him Intimidate. Healing Wish on Jirachi I think is really good, especially to pair with Haxorus, so you can just set up and sweep twice. And his Fire, Water, Grass, Tentacruel, Rotom Heat, and Virizion. I think picking up Tentacruel as a spinner works really well with the Rotom, and Virizion in general is just a threat. Alright, you got anything else to say?
I don't. So moving on to the grades, I actually gave this one a C+.
I gave this an A. So these are very different grades. Looking at it again, I would probably give it a B or a B+, because it's not, it doesn't synergize too well. But in the end, I do like this team a lot. Yeah. You got anything else to say about this team?
No, I think we should go on. Go for it.
Alright, Lycanester FC. So, this team, it has the Huron Black, Starmie, Chestnut, Mew, Acelgor, Bronzong, Slurpuff, Delphox, Druddigon, Drapion, Gigalith, and Ariados. Alright, this team, the first thing I saw is he has a lot of things weak to rocks, but he also picked up Starmie, which is possibly the best rapid spinner in the game. You could say others are better, but I think Starmie's a really good rapid spinner, so I like that.
I actually saw his Zmons. I think they're probably some of the most strong and versatile.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Running a Z move on Mew, you don't even know what it is. It could be anything. And Kieran Black is just so strong, and Z move is really good on that. Alright, with this draft, I think what a lot of people noticed is he has 4 psychic types, so he could be really weak to knockoff. You could just knock everything off and GG, you win.
Yeah.
Also with this team, Ariados last pick, I'm conflicted because this team is really strong in webs. However, in the end, it's an Ariados. It's gonna set up webs and then die. So.
And I think maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's all you need. His team is not too
possibly.
fast.
Yeah, I think webs works really well with Kyurem, Druddigon, Drapion. I think it's just a solid web team. Let's see. Also with this, I think he has every hazard in the game.
Yeah.
So that's really good. He has spikes on Acelgor, Stealth Rock on Bronzong, Sticky Web, and Toxic Spikes on Ariados, and Toxic Spikes on Drapion. So there's that, which I like a lot.
Yeah, and he can also just bring weather and then just chip away.
Yeah.
Damage that way as well.
Yeah, the Gigalith should really help with chip damage. However, he doesn't have anything to synergize with it. In fact, Bronzong is the only Pokemon on this team, I believe, that won't take damage from it. So, it's not too great, in my opinion, but, it could help. Let's see, what else? I don't think this team has any priority except for Sucker Punch Ariados, and no one's going to run Sucker Punch Ariados.
You'd be surprised. I guess they could if they really wanted to set up the webs. Maybe if you sash it, you live, and then just Sucker Punch.
Yeah. but it's not really gonna help against like setup sweepers and stuff because you know it's not that strong of a Pokemon. So there's that. This team also, one more thing I want to say is its speed tiers are weird. It's got the really fast Selgor, the pretty fast Starmie, and then the alright speed Delphox and Mew. But other than that, oh, and I think Huron Black is kind of speedy. But other than that, it's kind of slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you got anything else to say?
I think that's it for this team.
All right. So grades.
Grades. This one I gave a B minus.
And this one I gave a C minus. Originally I had this grade even lower, but like there were a few things I noticed about the team. Like all the hazards is really good, and the Z-Mons are also really good. So I don't think there's too much synergy here, but there are a lot of solid things. So it's not too low. Well, it's pretty low, but it's not extremely low.
Yeah.
All right, next team.
Oakland Aerodactyls. Here we have the Tapu Bulu, the Garchomp, the Fortress, Milotic, the Keldeo, Staraptor, the Crawdaunts, the Azelf, Untitled, Alolan Raichu, regular Sandslash, and regular Ninetale.
Yeah. Alright, this team I like a lot. I like that he has Hippo, and then towards the end of the draft he picked up Sandslash, so he could like just sweep in the sand. So I like that pick.
You know what? I didn't really notice that, but I think that is something that you can take advantage of.
Okay, yeah.
Also, his Seamons are pretty good choices.
Yeah, I like Z Garchomp because it's not far over base 100 speed, but it barely gets over there, so it's still kind of fast and it can do a lot of damage. And Keldeo, yeah, it's just same with Garchomp. It's really strong and pretty fast.
Let's see. This team also has Intimidate support. It also has the grassy terrain.
Yep.
Slowly recover some HP, and if you want to throw some leftovers on the Fortress as well, you're just going to be recovering a lot.
Yeah, I definitely like Fortress and Tapu Bulu. However, they're both weak to fire, but this team has a Milotic, Ninetales, Hippo, Garchomp, and Milotic, so fire should not be too much of a problem. I'm surprised Azelf went to the 8th round, but it did, and he picked it up, so he has a lot of speed and good stealth rock support as opposed to Fortress.
Yeah, and you also see some priority here.
Yeah. With I think Quick Attack, Staraptor, and Mach Punch Conkeldurr, which are both strong, somewhat strong stab moves. So that is pretty good. Also with this team, he picked up Ninetales towards the end. So if sand is a problem for him, he sets it up, but he doesn't want it anymore. He can just bring in Ninetales and get rid of it. So there's that. However, he has a Milotic and a Keldeo, so I don't think Sun will come too much because it'll weaken their water moves and make Fortress die to anything.
Right. You just have to be careful. I mean, you can just play the field, whatever you need.
Yeah. Alright, do you have anything else to say?
I'm excited to see how this the Alolan Raichu fits into
this
team.
I was kind of confused about that pick, but it gives him a fast electric type, and I think it's his only psychic type, so it's it'll be surprising. Oh no, he has Azelf, but it'll be surprising to see what it does. So grades, I gave this an A.
an A. I actually gave this a C plus.
Yeah, so this is another one that we're conflicted on. I think it's like the third one that we're really far apart on. But I like this team because it's got a lot of threats, but it's also defensive. And it has, in the way it has Fortress and Milotic. And I also really like the Hippo Sandslash combo. I think it would have been better to pick up Stoutland, but Sandslash is still decent because it gets Swords Dance.
Yeah, and the reason I gave this grade is because there's a lot of mons here that standalone aren't too impressive.
Yeah, like the Raichu and the Ninetales.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to work a little bit harder than with other teams to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, next team. This is the Ohio State Sableye. So this team is Zygarde 50, Ferrothorn, Mimikyu, Uxie, Chandelure, Mantine, Jolteon, Alolan Muck, Komala, Glaceon, Hitmonchan, and Smeargle. Alright.
Sableye.
The first thing I want to point out is I don't like his Z-Mons.
I don't agree with them as well.
Yeah, I think... well, I don't know what else you would put it on, but I think having it on Mimikyu would be better. Because you can run like Z-Splash or just Swords Dance and then Z-Shadow Claw. So I don't think those are a great pick.
Here, I think things that stick out to me are the two Eevee evolutions.
Yeah, Glaceon and Jolteon. I'm not a fan of Glaceon. It's slow, and it's an Ice type, which is not good defensively. So that's not a good combo. It's gonna die pretty easily. I do like Jolteon though. It's fast and it gets Volt Switch. What else do you need?
I think that's about as good as Jolteon does. You also have those barbs on Ferrothorn.
Yeah, that should be good because this team, it has Chandelure, Uxie, and Mimikyu, so it's not too strong against knockoff. It's not too strong against knockoff. So having the Ferrothorn to do the extra damage with the Iron Barb should help. Also with this team is he drafted Hitmonchan. I don't like Hitmonchan, especially when Sawk was still on the board. It's not too strong, it's not too fast, but it gets Rapid Spin, if that helps anything, even though you already have a Komala.
Yeah.
Smeargle. I think Smeargle is a good mon. It gives them Sticky Webs, which should help with Zygarde and Mimikyu. And Chandelure, so I think it's a good pick.
I think it's a good pick as well, but I think this is just a utility mod. I think it doesn't much more than that.
Yeah, it's very one-sided. Uxie, he got Uxie 4th round. I don't think that was a good idea. Uxie is definitely a good mon. It's bulky and it gets a slow U-turn. But it's not a 4th round pick. You know, he could have definitely waited a bit.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of things here, like the Alolan Muck. I figured it would have gone a little bit earlier than this.
Alright. Also with this team, I like the Mantine. He has Zygarde and Jolteon, which are immune to electric, so having Mantine defensively should help a lot. Alright, so you got anything else to say?
I think that's all I have for this team. And you want to move on to the grades?
Yeah.
So this team I actually gave a C minus.
And I gave this a B minus. Yours is definitely a lot lower than mine, but mine is not too high because for me, looking at this team, it is very strong. However, it's just not too fast, and it doesn't synergize too well. But this team, I love the Uxie with like a Zygarde or a Chandelure, so you can change like your Scarf, Bandit, or Specs moves. So I like that. But
Yeah.
it's not too solid in general, especially with the later end of the draft picks.
Yeah, the last three, I mean, they're kind of a little questionable, but I think,
Yeah.
you know, if you have some tricks up your sleeve, I think this is not going to be a team that you are going to see coming in, and they can actually do some damage.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next team, Electivire.
Next, the Oklahoma City Electivire with the Manskey, Gorgeous Sweetling Shaman, the Uniclus, the Krikitunes, the Heliolisk, Heracross, Empoleon, Torkoal, and Venusaur.
All right, so similar to the Golden State Wartortle, towards the end he picked up Torkoal plus Venusaur, which is like strong because you get the growth Venusaur in the sun with chlorophyll, and also I believe Heliolisk gets solar power, so it'll be doing a lot more damage in the sun. So I like those pickups at the end.
You know, I think the Heliolisk with the Z move, I personally wouldn't have put my Z move there.
Me too. Me too.
But other than that, he's got some really bulky mons with with Gorgeous and the Suicune and the Venusaur.
Yeah. One thing I put it out is I think his only removal is Defog Salamence and Rapid Spin Torkoal, and Mence wants to be running like a Dragon Dance or a Scarf Moxie or Banded Moxie or just not a Defog set. And Torkoal in general is just weak to rocks. So I wish he had better removal, but then again his team is not weak to rocks.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think is gonna happen with the Heracross? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because he doesn't have too much like speed support or anything, and he already has a Moxie Sweeper and Salamence and Crocodile. So I'm surprised he picked that up, but it gives him two typings he doesn't have, and a Banded Close Combat or Megahorn, it will definitely hurt, but I don't think it fits too much into this team.
I mean, he also has the option to run Trick Room with that Torkoal. I mean, Torkoal on the Trick Room is going to be putting out some powerful overheats.
Yeah. He could definitely go fast or slow, and the Reuniclus is great under Trick Room as well. Just setting up Calm Minds and recovering everything, and then having just one move to kill everything. I think this team has no priority except for Aqua Jet and Polion. I don't like that. I love priority. You know, it's just a safeguard against setup sweepers, and I think priority is really important. But in Aqua Jet and Polion, I don't think it will cut it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the first four picks of this team are very solid.
Yes, definitely.
I like the Forges there.
Yeah,
I
it's
like the
defensive monster.
With the Flash Fire, I think that's gonna help out.
Yeah. I also like Shaman because Seed Flare is a strong move. It could definitely put some holes into teams. So I like that. However, it's like even worse in the sun with the Torkoal, but I don't think that should be too much of a problem. All right. Do you got anything else to say?
I think that's it.
All right. So the grades, I gave this a B minus.
And I give this one a C.
All right. So this one, we both agree it's all right. You know, it's not too strong, but when you look at it, it's not something that you're like, oh, I'm just gonna bring one mon and win. Because he has a lot of solid mons, and he does have that very scary Z Salamence,
Yep.
So that, don't underestimate that. It could sweep you easily. All right. You ready to move on? Unless you want to talk about this.
Now let's go ahead and move on.
All right. So the Seattle. Don't get mad at me. Mareanies.
I would say Mareanies.
All right.
I've probably been mispronouncing things all night, so that's all right.
Yeah. So we'll just say Seattle. All right. This team. It's got the Latios, Magnezone, Togekiss, Crawdaunt, Snorlax, Weezing, Necrozma, Cryogonal, Cradily, Emboar, Aerodactyl, and regular Pinsir. So this team, okay. One thing I thought was very funny is round 6 he gets Weezing, and round 8 he gets Cryogonal, which are in general low tier, not very good mons. They have like one niche that they can do. But in the middle of that, he just picked up Necrozma, which is really good. So I thought that was funny, just getting like a really strong mon in between two really weak mons.
Yeah. There's a couple of things on here that I really like that Latios.
Yeah, I like Z Latios and Z Necrozma, and I like Crawdaunt.
I love the Crawdaunt. That Weezing I think is gonna come in handy. So I'm happy that trade went through.
Yeah, it's pretty defensive, but like if you're looking at this draft, it's essentially you got Weezing round 6 when it's like around 10, between like 10 and 12 pick. So I think that's not too strong. Also with this team, I think his only Volt turn is Magnezone, which I hate. I love Volt turn. I think it's really handy, and it gets you momentum. And I think Magnezone won't be able to cut it, especially since it's Volt Switch, which will just get blocked by any ground type.
Right. And one thing I actually wanted to point out is that this team is not too fast.
Yeah, definitely. He's got Aerodactyl, Cryogonal, and Latios. And Aerodactyl and Cryogonal are definitely not coming every game. So basically, Latios is your fast mon. And I don't think he has any Trick Room setters. Well, actually, Necrozma gets it. But, so he could run Trick Room with Necrozma. But, that's it.
I don't. Unless you start passing Thunder Waves off, I think you're gonna have an issue with your speed.
Yeah. Also, normal Pinsir. I don't like it at all. I think literally the only set you can run with it is Scarf Moxie, and you're still gonna get walled by anything that isn't like weak to. Does it even get Mega Horn?
I've never seen a normal Pinsir, so
yeah,
as good as I get.
So I think if it gets Mega Horn, then Mega Horn and Close Combat are its only two strong moves, and yeah, those can get walled pretty easily. So I don't like normal Pinsir at all. I do like the Aerodactyl pick though, because it brings speed to his team. It's still pretty slow, but it brings speed to his team, and it's a taunt user and it's fast Stealth Rocks, which I think Cradily was the only Stealth Rock setter before Aerodactyl, and Cradily is not. It's definitely not coming every game.
Another thing the Aerodactyl can do is set up the Tailwind if you need some speed control there.
Yeah, I think Tailwind with Crawdaunt and Magnezone could help. But other than that, a lot of his mons are actually, I think, really slow for Tailwind. Like Snorlax, it uses Curse and things like that. So it's still going to be pretty slow. But I guess Emboar could be pretty good under Tailwind.
I mean, even without the Tailwind, I would just Scarf it, run it Reckless, and then just...
Flare Blitz away.
Yeah.
I like Emboar. It brought a fire type and a fighting type, which he didn't have. And it is strong, so I like that. I like that pick. But in general, I did like after his fourth pick, other than Emboar and Necrozma and somewhat Aerodactyl, I hate. I just like hate the draft. So like, I don't like half of this draft. I think he might get stuck bringing like only 8 of his mons each week because a lot of them are just so low tiered and they're one-sided, so he won't be able to do much with them.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us what you placed this team
Okay, this is my lowest team. This is a D+. It is my only team that is in the Ds because I don't like this team at all.
Yeah, I actually gave it a C. It's not too bad. I think this was probably the first one that I looked at, and this is where I started with my criteria from. So
Yeah.
I think there are some good things here, but there's just things that I see good on their own.
Yeah, there are definitely some good things, but I don't think there's like any synergy, and I think most things are too one-sided for this draft to be like really strong. All right.
Yeah, and I think one more thing, really quick.
Oh.
I think that I wouldn't like them to be stuck bringing the Latios and the Necrozma to every battle, but I think this team looks like it's gonna have to rely on that.
Yeah, and like that sucks because they're both psychic types, so you can just knock off everything. You know, you can knock off away Band on Crawdaunt, Specs on Magnezone, knock off if they're not running a Z Crystal on Latios and Necrozma. Knock off Wheezing, Pain Split its only recovery. Knock off Emboar without a Scarf, it's not fast enough to do much. It's just his team is weak to knock off, even though he only has 2 mons that it's super effective against.
Right.
Alright, next team, Oranguru.
The Syracuse Oranguru, and this team has the Entei and the Celesteela. The other Lati twin, you have Toxapex, Tangrowth, Cobalion, Landorus, Aromatisse, Grafty, Gyarados, Blissey, and Type Null.
Okay, with this team, I think there are a few funky things. I am surprised he picked up 2 normal types as his last 2 picks, and they're both defensive normal types. So I'm kind of surprised about that. I'm also surprised that Landorus I went to round 7 because that thing is really strong.
Before the Toxapex. The Toxapex was chosen for the Landorus, and I think that's surprising.
Yeah. I like the Toxapex Tangrowth core. I like it a lot.
I like the dual Intimidate core.
Yep, Scrafting Gyarados. Entei, I think Entei's alright. Banded Sacred Fire, or just basically Sacred Fire in general, is really strong because it can burn threats and do a lot of damage. So that's very strong. The Z-Mons, by the way, are Celesteela and Landorus.
This is something I don't agree with.
Yeah, I don't like Z Celesteela. I think Landorus is a good Z-Mon. However, I think like Gyarados or Entei would be better with the Z-Mon or the Z move.
I mean, I don't really know what Celesteela can do with like
Yeah.
move wise. It just wants to set up Leaf Seed and hit off some heavy slams.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Z slot could have gone to a lot of places. He has a lot of good Z users. He could have Entei or Latias or Cobalion or, as I said before, even Gyarados. So I think that was kind of a waste.
He does have a lot of immunity to ground type.
Yeah. He has like the Latias, Gyarados, and Celesteela, and the Landorus. So it works really well with the Entei and Toxapex and even the Cobalion. So that I think that's a really good draft, like in that sense. I wish this team had more Volt Turn. I think Cobalion is the only Volt Turner with Volt Switch. And Cobalion doesn't even always run Volt Switch, so I wish he had more of that. especially with Entei and Landorus, just being able to switch those out, let a Volt Switcher take a hit and then bring them back in. I think it would be really good.
I mean, that could also work with Volt switching into your Intimidate users.
Yeah.
Yourself on the bench.
Yeah. With the 2 Intimidate users, Scrafty and Gyarados, other than their typing, are basically the same mons. They're Dragon Dance Sweepers with Intimidate that have 4 times weaknesses. They're basically the same Pokemon, so I wish he got one of those instead of both. However, they're both quite threatening if you don't prepare for them well. And they can both run abilities other than Intimidate that you gotta worry about. You know, Scrafty could run like do they both get Moxie? I don't know if Scrafty does. But
Scrafty does get Moxie.
yeah, so they both also have Moxie, I think.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
I don't want to advocate for this, but he can just spread Toxic with the Blissey and the Toxapex and then just call it a day with the Celesteela.
Yep. Yeah, this team is defensive. we got the Toxapex, Tangrowth, Celesteela, Aromatisse type Null, and Blissey. So he could just bring a full-on stall team that only knows the move Toxic and then win. But at the same time, I do like that. It's also pretty offensive, so I like that. One last thing. I think Latias is his only defogger, so you have Entei, you might want to watch out for rocks. But that's all I gotta say. You got anything else?
No, I think this team is pretty average. I give this a C-.
Yeah. I gave this a C+. You know, it's not too great, but it's not terrible either. You know, it has options, and it's got a lot of solid mons. So I think it's average.
Yeah, I think this team has a little better synergy than some of the past teams that we've been going to lately. So I think it's gonna have to spread a lot.
Yeah. So, all right, next team, the Tulsa Huntail. This team, I like this team. It's got a Skarmory, Kyurem, regular Kyurem, Sylveon, Gengar, Terrakion, Galvantula, Blastoise, Bisharp, Salazzle, Tangela, Diggersby, and Mesprit. So, with this team, I don't like Kyurem getting regular Kyurem that early. I don't think it's that good of a mon to go that early, so I don't agree with him getting it that early. But I like the Galvantula because this team loves webs. Terrakion and Gengar and Kyurem and even Diggersby and like everything on this team loves webs.
Yep. One thing I don't agree with is that Skarmory being his first pick.
I kind of agree, but I think Skarmory is a defensive monster, so I can definitely see why he picked it up first round. But you know, I think it could have. I think this was actually the first pick overall was Skarmory. So
Wow.
what he was worried about was by the time it got back to him at the 32nd pick, he wouldn't be able to pick up Skarmory, so he just wanted to get it this early.
That's one of the crazy things of having a draft league, you know?
Yeah.
You want something you have to get before someone else does.
On this team, I like Diggersby a lot on this team. Just having that huge power quick attack along with being able to spam EQ. I think it should help this team a lot. He didn't have a ground or a normal type before he picked up Diggersby, and it's strong, so I like that pick. His Z users, Gengar and Terrakion, I like his Z users. I think these are probably the best Z users. Maybe the one on Terrakion could have gone to like Kyurem, but I don't think so. I think these are the best he could have had. So I like that.
I like that. I like the Salazzle. I like the
Yes.
Fake Out. I like that you can poison steel types.
Yeah. It's Salazzle, like, you know, it's a fire poison type, so you think like a lot of mods would be able to wall it, but you can just toxic things that you normally wouldn't be able to. So nothing is too safe against it because it can just toxic and whittle everything down. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I really enjoy the Sylveon. I think it's probably one of the better fairies.
Yep. One thing I will say that I'm not too fond about it with is he has so many strong special attackers that I don't think having this many is necessary. He has Kyurem, Gengar, Sylveon, and Salazzle, who are all like over base 110 special attack and are really strong. So I don't think he needed all of those, but then again, they all have different coverage. You know, it's not a bad thing at all.
Actually, now that you mention it, he doesn't have that many physical factors, huh?
Yeah, he's got Diggersby, Bisharp, and Terrakion, and Diggersby and Terrakion are somewhat similar. I mean, they're different, but they're somewhat similar. And then Bisharp, it's basically you gotta hope you can SD and hope that they don't bring something that's faster than you with HP fighting.
Yeah. So I think that's where the webs are gonna come in.
Yeah, yeah. Mesprit was the last pick overall. I like Mesprit. You can run it slow with U-turn, or you can even run it offensive. So I think it is a really good pick. I think it's strong, but I think his only spinner / defogger is Skarmory, and that thing does not want to run defog too often because it sets up rocks and spikes itself, and you have sticky web. So I wish he picked up a spinner. I'm gonna say that.
Does Blastoise not get rapid spin?
Oh right, I'm stupid. Blastoise gets rapid spin. So, my bad. Forget I said any of that. Let's see. This team, I like its speed. He has Gengar. He doesn't have anything that's super fast though, but he has Gengar, Terrakion, Galvantula, and Salazzle, who are all pretty fast and strong. So I definitely like that.
I agree with that. I also think that I mean, if I really think that this team is gonna rely on webs.
Yeah, possibly.
It's gonna make you. It would make me a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. Do you got anything else to say?
Nope.
All right, grades. I think we agreed on the grade. We both gave it a B.
Is this the first time we both agreed on something?
Yeah, I think we had one other one. I can't remember, but this is one of the two. So a rare moment. I gave it a B because looking at it, it's good, but as you said, it could rely on webs, and it could use a bit of a better physical attacker. And we didn't talk about this at all, but Tangela is weird.
Yeah, I think it's just sitting there looking at me. I don't really know what to expect from it.
Yeah. Although it's an Eviolite user and he has Terrakion, so you know he could work with that. But overall solid team, but not like top tier.
All right, let's go ahead and move on.
Okay, this is the last team. Finally.
Yeah, and the last team we have the Tyranitar, Excadrill, Circuitry, Rotom Wash, Mandibuzz, the Mienshao, Hornidus, Gardevoir, Blaziken, Serena, Alomomola, and Dusknoir.
So, alright, with this team, immediately Tyranitar and Excadrill is pretty scary. Excadrill is a great sweeper and T-Tar is really strong.
Yep, that Circuitry and Rotom Wash I think would be picks. Go a little bit further down the line.
Yeah, Circuitry is typically I don't think it's well known because it hasn't been used too well in other leagues, but I think it's just because of its pure power. It can do work.
Yeah, doesn't it have like a special attack of higher than 170?
Yeah, it's like 173.
Yeah.
I think. Alright, with this team, I also like the bulk a lot. It's got a Rotom W, Dusknoir, Mandibuzz, Alomomola,
Yep.
Sarina. You know, it's got a lot of defense, which I love. While still being offensive.
There's
Alright.
fake out here. There's there's protection from priority.
Mhm.
My Majesty.
Mhm.
There's a defogger, and I actually think that the Z moves were placed on the right mons on this
Yeah.
team.
With like one thing I was really critical about was the Z-Mons, but I think
Yeah.
these are definitely the right Z-Mons. Alright, with this team, let's see. I like that Tyranitar. It's a really strong pursuit trapper. Let's see. What I also like. I like Tornadus because this team, what it can do is it can set up the rocks with T-Tar, and then T-Tar plus Excadrill will be able to. The rocks will break any sashes, and Sturdy and Excadrill like can set up a Swords Dance and win. But if they have like a Defogger or something, you can bring in the Defiant Tornadus and get a +2 attack boost. So I like that a lot. Also, Tornadus can be run special with like Hurricane, and it gets like Prankster bulk up. So I like Tornadus.
When you can prankster Rain Dance yourself.
Yeah, yeah. This
That-
team.
that- a lot with sorry. Dude, and then you can just run Thunder on Circuit Dream.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Just run Thunder and then nuke everything. Blaziken, you cannot run Speed Boost. This is a Blaziken. As I don't think I mentioned it before, but Landorus I, you cannot run Sheer Force. You can only run Sand Force. So I think that could be the reason why they were picked late. But Blaziken, I love Blaziken. It's not too fast, but it has like, I think base 120 attack and 110 special attack, and it gets like high jump kick, flare blitz, focus blast, so it gets a lot of coverage, and you can just nuke everything.
Yep, I think this team is pretty solid. I love the Mian Shell and the Serena. Serena's actually one of my more favorite Pokemon from the new gen.
hmm Yeah, it's cool. Like it's like Trop Kick, so you can lower the attack. I like that he picked up Dusknoir last round because his first two picks in T-Tar and Excadrill are weak to fighting, but you can just bring in Dusknoir and tank any hit. With this team though, I wish it was a bit faster, because really the only speedy mons are Mienshao, Tornadus, and then Excadrill and Sand. So I wish it was a bit faster. But other than that, I got good things to say.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to say on this team.
All right, so the grades. I gave it a B.
And I gave it a B+.
In general, it's just a really solid team. I like it. I like it a lot. I better like it. I helped Mimo with a couple of his picks, so it would be kind of hypocritical if I gave it a lower grade. But in general, I do like this a lot.
This is probably one of my favorite teams because I really like the circuitry and the Rotom Wash Serena. I think I'm just being a little biased here, but I really like this one.
Yeah, and I think it's got some good synergy too with like Sarina and Rotom, and just I think it's really solid. But okay, that is gonna be it for the draft, or the draft analysis. Do you have any closing thoughts to say?
No, thank you guys for coming out and giving this league a try.
yeah, that's gonna be it. See you guys.